Just like everybody else has vigilantes, we need some black vigilantes.
That's right.
People want to jump up and choke us and kill us for being loud. How about we do the same when they attempt to oppress us?
Right.
I'm tired.
Tired.
I know you're looking for us to be like, oh, go and march. Go and march. No. This weekend, I want you to hold a community event everywhere from the Bronx to Houston to Seattle to Florida. Black people hold community events and talk about what you need.
CHIVONA NEWSOME. I'm the co-founder of Black Lives Matter Greater New York. And I'm a devout Christian. And in my Bible, thou shalt not kill. In the Torah, thou shalt not kill. In Buddhism, not kill a living thing. But America has no morals, no soul. Our bloods have paved the streets of this nation since its inception. It was foolish of us to think that a black man would get justice in the system designed to... My heart bleeds for the Neely family. My heart bleeds for his father, who sat in front of me every single day and prayed for justice for his son. There is no one coming to save black people, or else we wouldn't live in these ghettos, we wouldn't be in these prisons, and we would be further along than we are. We wouldn't be at the absolute bottom. So forgive me for being jaded and cynical, but once we saw those non-white jurors, we knew that this case was over.
None of them.
Non-white jurors. How could there not be an uproar that the same person who got off Kyle Rittenhouse, who got off O.J. Simpson, was used here? And shame on you, celebrities and politicians who claim not to be racist, because the racists spoke loud and clear. John McCain's daughter, she had something to say. I think she incited a riot for the right. Phil Mickelson, he had something to say. Kid Rock donated $3 million. And if you look on social media, if you look at the hatred spewed across against us, against black people, against a man who was sick, because when there's a crisis of drugs in America, I'm sorry, it's only a crisis when it's a white person.
Wow. All right, folks. It is Monday and it is time for Pop and Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-host. All right, back with us tonight, as the same as every Monday, is Tyrone Keys of Soldiers of Finance right here on YouTube. And we also have the lovely Nicole Bennett, director of the Black Conservative Federation. And last but certainly not least, it is Shelly E. All right, so like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We're here on YouTube and Rumble. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. I can see the chat is already on fire. Keep it coming. We shout out all of our super chats. I see we have one already from Tijuana Border Jumper. It says, hey, I'm off and spending time with Pop and Politics. We love it. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for that $10 super chat. Kate Kung Fu CJ with the $2 super chat says, hello, ladies, BLM no longer relevant. Absolutely. We will see. We will see. I'm going to talk about that. But again, we love our super chats. Thanks you guys so much. They help us. They go a long way in helping us produce conservative content. This is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, folks, let's set it off. Tons of stuff to unpack tonight. Breaking news from a lot out of New York City. So we're going to talk about the Daniel Penny acquittal, and then we're going to get right into the breaking news about the United Healthcare CEO unaliving investigation. All right, so starting out with this Daniel Penny acquittal. As you folks know, he was acquitted today on all charges. So we spoke to you guys on Friday and kind of unpacked the case somewhat. And so now, of course, the jury came back and have found him not guilty. So I want to start off with you on this, Shelley. What are your thoughts?
I think it was a just verdict. Obviously, Shavonna Newsom and her husband, I guess, Hank Newsom, they would not agree with me. But I do think it was just. I think the jury, if they did not come to that verdict, it would have been a hung jury. They already dismissed the manslaughter charges, the most severe charges. And again, personally, I don't think this warranted the level of prosecution. Was it an absolute tragedy? Yes. Do I understand, and I can have, I guess, sympathy for that family, that mom, that dad that lost their son? Absolutely. But ultimately, this was less about Daniel Penny as a white man killing a black man, and it was more about the system failures to Jordan Neely and Jordan Neely's own internal psychological problems.
Yeah, Nicole. I mean, that's a good point Shelley made. I mean, some are saying that this is a failure of the system for both people, for Jordan Neely and for Daniel Penny. What are your thoughts on this? And respond to the BLM protesters.
Enough of them. Not even worth the air. So speaking of Daniel Penny, I kind of feel sorry for him and his family, the expense that they went through. This is going to be with him forever and ever. The Neely family also, not only losing a loved one, but systematic failures of the mental health systems that we have here in the United States. This was very clearly a disturbed man. He kidnapped a 7-year-old. He punched a 64-year-old woman in the face and broke her nose and her orbital bone. He was arrested more than 44 times. And I can only imagine what his family felt like dealing with, arrest after arrest, the homelessness, the drugs, the drinking, was probably self-medicating for some mental health issues. Before the 1980s, you had the opportunity to turn your relatives who were suffering with mental illness into a facility that would help them, that would hold them. Since that ACL lawsuit to get people freed from those type of facilities, most families don't have the financial wherewithal to get their family members the type of help that they would have gotten prior to that decision. So it's not specific to Black people. It happens to all kind of people, where you have someone who is desperately ill and you just don't have the resources to get them the help that they need. A 30 or a 3-day hold, 72-hour hold on someone who has a significant problem, a couple of nights in jail does not fix the problem. So this is a tragedy all the way around. I am very glad, though, that Danny Penny was found not guilty of those charges. I think it was an overreach from the beginning from DA Bragg, who was looking for a political win.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I want to get you in on this, Tyrone. I want to get your thoughts, particularly, do you feel do you feel that justice was served? And then also now, of course, the Neely's family, so his dad is filing a civil suit against Daniel Penny, Jordan Neely's dad. Now, this dad hasn't been around for most of his life. Now he comes out of the woodwork. He's filing a suit. He's there in court every day. Do you feel like the suit is warranted? And what are your thoughts on that exchange we just saw?
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what the courts decide on whether or not it's, the suit has any validity to it. You find that the civil action comes after criminal action, usually, especially when someone is acquitted, because people then, presumably are still working and deriving income. So there's something to go after. So we'll see. As far as his family's involvement, because a lot has been made in terms of, a lot of hay has been made in terms of, well, it's folks weren't around, but Neely was a grown man. And, it's very difficult, especially when you're dealing with someone who's abusing substances. If they do not want to change that, it's not going to change, no matter what his family wants for him. And if you look at, he had an extensive criminal record. And if you look at the types of crimes that he was perpetrating, it says mental illness. It's like there are no motives here. It's just wanton, random violence. Okay. And so you combine someone like Alvin Bragg, who's only interested in social promotion and headlines. If he really had a heart for helping people in Neely's situation, then he's a powerful individual in New York City. He could have put some structures in place to do that long before now. But instead, he chose headlines. And so now he gets a big one, a loss. People are calling for him to resign the way he handled the case. So tragic what happened all the way around.
Yeah, I want to correct some things, or we did do the show on Friday and talked about this case, but I want to make sure we clarify some things. So first, submission hold versus chokehold. So in the defense of Daniel Penny, the forensic pathologist Dr. Satish Shudru testified that the chokehold Penny applied did not directly cause Jordan Neely's death. We've been getting pummeled on that video from people in our comments talking about that. So Shudru argued that Neely's death was instead due to a combination of factors, including his schizophrenia, the synthetic marijuana he had consumed, and a sickle cell crisis exacerbated by the physical struggle. He pointed out that the medical evidence, such as minimal bruising on Neely's neck and negligible tiny hemorrhages, was inconsistent with a fatal chokehold. So Shudru emphasized that even though a chokehold occurred, the injuries Neely sustained from it were survivable. Many people were saying that he was still alive after he was released, and apparently he was. So apparently what happened was when the police got there, because he was so disheveled and dirty, they did not want to perform mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. So the defense also highlighted discrepancies in the medical examiner's findings, suggesting that the cause of death was determined prematurely and without full consideration of other factors contributing to Neely's condition during the altercation. So I saw a couple comments about, that Neely was not, he didn't, assault anyone. He did not, cause any harm to anyone. Witnesses testified that they were in fear of losing their lives. In the trial, several witnesses testified that they were genuinely frightened by Jordan Neely's behavior on the subway prior to Penny intervening. They thought he was demonically possessed. Someone actually said that.
Yeah, I'm in the comment on some of the comments you're talking about, KJ. So the defense, Dr. Shudru, how he pronounce his name, he did say that, but he was disputing the evidence on the other side. Let's give both sides. The prosecution also presented a medical examiner, a physician, that said that there was compression injury that led to asphyxiation. So you have two physicians saying opposite things. So that's just the defense side, and then there's the prosecuting side. That's number one. There were witnesses who said that they were fearful. There were also people in the background when I watched the video, at least. I think it was the lady from Free Press. In that video, there were people who said they were fearful. That is no doubt. There were also people who were saying, let him go, he's dying. And I'm going to say what I repeat what I said last week. Because you have a pulse when you go to the hospital, whatever, you can still be brain dead. Your brain can still die. It does not take minutes for your brain cells and your brain to go into an arrest mode or an asphyxiated mode from lack of. It does not take long to do that. So again, the defense said one thing, and so did the prosecution say an opposite. So that's the balance of the whole thing. It's not just because the defense doctor said it that is the case. So that I was saying that to say that the jury found for the defense. They agreed with what the defense said. Tyrone, I wanted to get you in on this.
I wanted to, and Shelley, you may have more information. I know when I was an EMT, we were trained. We stopped doing mouth to mouth, and that's not a part of the protocol. At least it wasn't a part of the protocol when I was an EMT.
Compression only. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
You can do mouth to mouth if you have the proper safety
apparatus.
Yeah. PPE is called. You are not in the obligation to put yourself in danger.
Right. And as far as, you know, if that is accurate and the cops didn't want to touch him because it was dirty, I find that hard to believe or hard to accept because, and Shelley, I know you can attest to this. You work on people regardless of their state of hygiene, I guess you would say, as long as you wear the proper PPE.
This is what was reported.
From a medical or health personnel perspective, you do. Again, let me keep that in mind. You're not obligated to put yourself in danger, and you have to make sure that the scene, if you will, is safe. True. Right. So you don't have to put yourself in danger, and you certainly can't endanger other people. So that I'm not doing CPR on him because of his mouth. That doesn't necessarily bother me. I don't know if that's the right word, but I can see that not happening because they probably did not have the proper PPE.
Yeah.
But people keep saying that he was alive when you can have a pulse and still be your brain is in a rest mode where your brain does not have oxygen. That is not unbelievable or uncommon.
No, but you're still alive. I mean, you can be brain dead, but
you're still alive. But that doesn't mean your body is basically in the last stages, if you will. So it has last electrical stimulation in your heart. The circuitry in your heart is still pumping, but you're brain dead for all intents and purposes. That is what compression and lack of oxygen does when you do it to your neck and your brain.
Right, but even still, that call wouldn't be made by personnel on the scene.
Right.
That would be a call for the hospital and for a medical doctor.
Exactly.
I want, because now we have, of course, this BLM response. Take a look here. This is clip 15.
I just want to say, I miss my son. My son didn't have to go through this. I didn't have to go through this either. It hurts. Really, really hurts. What are we going to do, people? What's going to happen to us now? I had enough of this. The system is rigged. Come on, people. Let's do something about this.
Let's do something about it. Too often, we have Eric Garner's mother here.
So let's do something about this. Nicole, what should be done?
Well, let's work on mental health, right? Let's work on that. That's something that we can do that's positive in this. You know, one of the things that I've heard since we did the show from some people who watched it, the last show, is to an extent, people expect people to behave poorly on a train. And I don't know where that comes from, but that should not be an acceptable part of your day-to-day life. It really should not. If you get on a train, there should be no threat to your life, no fear of riding a train. I don't know where we've given up our right to peace and freedom, but we need to find it again. There was no part of this where this man was without blame for his behavior. I feel sorry for his father. Losing a child has got to be devastating, whether he's close or not close. He knows the struggles his son went through, the demons his son had. It has got to be tearing his heart apart on the days that he wasn't with his son for whatever reason. You know, some families say, choose us or the drugs, and, you know, the addict chooses the drugs, and that person is away from you at that point. So you don't know what happens there. But by the same token, one bad actor cannot set this world on fire. We just can no longer afford to be that community. Black people have got to be smarter than that. If we want to do something to honor Jordan Neely, let's work on a mental health system in New York City, right? Let's make sure that the homeless people who are out there who need help are getting the help. Some of them are veterans, not saying that Neely was, but there are some people who are veterans who are struggling. There are, you know, moms who have postpartum depression who are struggling. Mental health is very much a big part of healthcare system in the United States that gets very little attention until something like this happens.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. As far as we shouldn't have to be afraid to ride the subway. You know, according to Gothamist.com, in 2023, there were 570 reported assaults on the NYC subway system, marking the highest number in over 27 years. The figure translates to approximately 1.5 assaults per day. Shelley, you heard what they said. We got to do something. Do you believe that this is going to be a George Floyd moment?
I think so. We talked about this, I think, Friday or Saturday. And I still think that BLM, they are revving up to fuck up some stuff, some cities. And the sad part is that the Newsoms and the Neelys that are standing there, they're not going to be affected at all, at least not physically, but they're going to put other people's lives in danger. More Black people, okay? The Black people that they claim that they want to save, again, they're going to put more of their lives in danger. They're going to have them in what they call it, in police situations, the same situations that they claim too many Black people are already involved in. But these people are doing nothing but revving up to fuck up. That's it. They're revving up to fuck up. That's what I'm gonna put it.
Yeah. Tyrone, so the BLM activists are pushing the racial grift. They're pushing the racism. They said the jury was, I believe, all white jury of comprised of men and women. Is this a racial issue?
No, it's not a racial issue, especially when the DA, who is Black, gets to participate in jury selection.
Absolutely.
Right? So Alvin Bragg signed off on this jury. He was happy with this jury. The other thing about this is I would caution the family. You're in a nest of vipers with BLM. They do not care about you. They will exploit your tragedy for money. And then they will go and purchase multi-million-dollar real estate with it, which is exactly what Patrisse Cullors did in California. She has a $6 million mansion out there, and it was supposed to be for all Black people. I haven't been invited. I don't know about you guys. So I would be, very cautious. They prey on families in these tragic situations, and then they fundraise off of it. And 6 months later, you check in with Neely's father, and he's in the same position that he's in right now.
Exactly. He's still heartbroken.
Yeah. If he survives, because I know my alarm went off. He looked like he was dealing with some type of substance abuse as well. So that money that he gets could go by the wayside, by the way of abuse anyway. But we'll continue to follow this story. It's tragic. I want to acknowledge our super chatters here, guys. Thank you so much. We certainly appreciate you. All right, let's see what you have to say. Kung Fu CJ with the $5 super chat says, "What's up, Tyrone? Towson is still part of Baltimore, Maryland."
Don't you know it?
Yeah.
Laura with the $2 super chat says, "Yes, I'm with you on that, Shelley." All right, talking about the Jordan Neely issue. Tijuana, the border jumper with the $5 super chat says, "National Alliance for Mental Illness is a wonderful organization that can help families with mentally ill members. Get the word out." We just did, Tijuana border jumper. Thank you so much. Jeff with the $20 super chat. What's up, Jeff? Says, "There are plenty of brain dead people that are alive. Look at most of our politicians." I 100% agree with you there. All right, Mark Slater. What's up, Mark? $10 super chat says, "If Daniel Penny sat there and watched Black women get beat up by Jordan and did nothing, they would still call him racist. Just can't win with the Democrats." Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and this happens. Many people they don't want any parts of this type of stuff. And I don't blame them. But you have many people who have watched domestic violence issues, disputes, fights, have watched different things like this go on in cities all over this country and do nothing. They turn their backs and keep silent or keep walking and avoid the whole situation. Daniel Penny stood up. No telling what would have happened if he hadn't done something.
Do you know there's a reel I saw on IG, I think it was last night before, where this group of kids were acting out if the boyfriend was being very abusive, like he was going to physically assault his quote unquote girlfriend on a crowded train to see if anybody said anything. But what happened was, he was very aggressive with her. He was kind of grabbing her by the arm, kind of jostling her in her face, telling her what was going to happen when they got home and shaking her around. And women got up and moved away. Some men sat there and scrolled on their cell phones and, looked at their watches, read the newspaper like it didn't happen. There was one guy who got off at the stop with them. And when the guy who was pretending to assault the woman, he jumped in front of him and put his arm around him. He said, man, I don't know what's going on. I'm not trying to be in your business, but this is a female. You can figure out, use some words or something. I just can't let you assault her. And then they said, oh, well, we're just doing this to show if anybody would step up to save this woman. This train car was packed full of people. One man. And now you see why. Now you see why.
That is less of an indictment on the passengers and more of an indictment on the current state of our society that will prosecute people who are trying to help. Okay. And people are analyzing. They're saying, I ain't got the money to hire a lawyer, okay, to get out of this trouble. If they lock me up, I'll lose my job. Nobody's going to come to my rescue. The media is going to vilify me if I'm white. Okay. The media is going to absolutely tear me to shreds if I'm white. So people run these calculations in their heads and they just say, I can't justify it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we will continue to follow the actions in NYC. It's a shame. I pray that BLM does not, tear up and light up this city. Particularly, it's the holidays. Many people are traveling to New York City for the holiday. It's a big destination for that. So I do hope that this doesn't, get out of hand. They are calling for massive protests this weekend, which it will be a big shopping weekend. So we will see. So I want to get into the insane clips of Trump at the Meet the Press interview with Kristen Welker. But before we do that, more breaking news has come out today involving the United Healthcare CEO shooting. So Luigi Mangione has been identified as a key person of interest in the fatal shooting of the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson. Mangione was apprehended in Altoona, Pennsylvania, while carrying a weapon similar to the one used in the crime. We have a photo of him. Authorities discovered a manifesto in his possession criticizing corporate healthcare practices. Witnesses reported Mangione at the scene in Manhattan shortly before the shooting, suggesting premeditation. His background includes being a valedictorian and a University of Pennsylvania graduate. And guys, this hits home right here in Maryland. He actually attended high school here at Gilman High School. It's a private school, one of the most prestigious private schools in Maryland. He went there, graduated. That's where he was valedictorian there. We have a clip of him. This is clip 20 at his high school graduation.
The class of 2016 is truly defined by its inventive, pioneering mentality that accompanies a strong commitment to Gilman tradition. Having great ideas, however, isn't enough to innovate. The class of 2016's inventiveness also stems from its incredible courage to explore the unknown and try new things. Just like we've done these past few years, we'll be exploring the unknown, whether that be attending colleges across the country, traveling the world during gap years, or fulfilling military service in foreign countries.
Wow. So that was him back in 2016. Again, graduated from a prestigious high school here. Went to Ivy League University. Shirley, what happened?
Well, leave it to McDonald's to just ruin everything. I mean, it ruins your diet. You know, it's like the equalizer of all classes. So just leave it to McDonald's. This is the American mainstay. That's number one. What I don't know. Let me say, I do know why the media and maybe many people are making this big to do, because he went to UPenn in Gilman, that somehow intelligent people just don't commit crimes. Bull. That's bull. Intelligent people, educate wealthy people, Ivy League people, they commit crimes just as much, or at least on board with the lower echelons of society. So this doesn't surprise me. I'm not moved one bit by his UPenn degree or whatever pedigree. If he is guilty, as he is accused of or alleged to have been, I think he should get the death penalty, Ivy League and all.
Yeah. Now, Nicole, I don't think people are so much shocked that, you know, somebody from, not so much where Shelley was talking about, from Ivy League, from, you know, a very good private school. I think the idea here is we're seeing these, you know, affluent school, Ivy League universities and other elite institutions adopt woke ideologies which radicalize these students and undermine traditional values. This is what's kind of the glaring alarm for me. Are you seeing that there? And what do you think about this?
Absolutely. I see the same thing. This is a young man who had every advantage in life. You know, he's traveled, he's well educated, going to Penn, and then I think he was at Stanford for a year, where he was helping incoming freshmen, you know, acclimate to college. Here's the thing: when you feed kids a steady diet of foolishness, you can expect foolish adults. This is what you're seeing. And if, you know, this young man seems to have had something happen, and they're not sure what it is. They've read some of the manifesto where he's talking about, you know, if no one else is going to do anything, I'm going to do something. So in his mind, he made himself a hero before anything happened. But, you know, people were saying early on, well, maybe his mom died of breast cancer because they wouldn't give her treatment, or someone close to him died because United Healthcare wouldn't give her treatment. United Healthcare starts off with no on almost everything. They are probably one of the hardest insurance companies to get anything approved by. Now, they're tight with the dollar, make no mistake. They've made some bad decisions, make no mistake. But that man was a father. You know what I mean? He was a husband, although from what they're saying that he and his wife had been separated for some years. He did not deserve to be gunned down on the street. So the people who are celebrating this man's death ought to be absolutely ashamed of themselves. Absolutely ashamed of themselves. This kid had problems. He had significant problems. And, you know, if I were a member of his family, I would want to track back to when this radicalization began. Did it start at this very elite high school? Or did it happen when he got to Penn, when he went away to Stanford? Where did it go wrong? That would be the question I would ask.
Yeah, Tyrone. I mean, these institutions prioritize identity politics and radical activism and overcritical thinking and classical education. That, to me, leads to this type of stuff. I mean, how many of us have had bad things happen to us? You know, people, unfortunately, if you have medical condition, of course, that's tragic and can be tragic and can be life-changing. But to do this, to bridge the gap between United Healthcare has told you no, then you're going to shoot the CEO. What's going on here?
Well, I think there actually was some reporting done about, and he posted on one of his social media accounts, an extensive surgery that he'd had on his back. And a lot of people have said that knew him. After that, for whatever reason, he was never the same. Be it maybe opioids came into play. I don't know. But people who knew him say that was the turning point. And he, interestingly enough, I think we can agree that he is a very, he's an intelligent person, but he has that in common with some very noteworthy criminals in U.S. history, Theodore Kaczynski being one of them. And Kaczynski was actually someone who Mangione quoted on his social media and in different writings that he had. So, definitely worthy of study what happened here. But, in the final analysis, he has taken a life. He murdered that man, and so he has to be, allegedly, if found guilty, he has to suffer the consequences.
Yeah. I mean, if it is a situation where we're finding that these elite institutions are radicalizing these children or these students, what do we do? Do we stop sending children to these institutions? What would be the next step?
Well, real quick, let me just say this really quick. People need to start reevaluating college. Okay. College is a scam for the most part. There are only a handful of degree paths that you can look at and say, okay, this is an investment that I can get a return from into the future. But by and large, there's the general education requirement scam where I want to be an engineer and I don't get into that degree coursework until my junior year, which is garbage. There's the book scam. Okay. You got to buy a new American history book, every semester. What the hell changed, in geometry or algebra, so there are a whole lot of profit centers. College is the scam. People need to start reevaluating it. Elon Musk has even said, hey, you can work for one of my companies and you don't have to have a degree as long as you can prove you can do the work.
Yeah.
The state of Maryland has done the same thing. The state of Maryland has taken away the requirement to have a degree in order to work for the state. I think, KJ, to answer your question, one of the things that I've heard kicked around at, parties and whatnot is, taxes. One of the ways to bring them to heel is to make them pay taxes. So a lot of these very, very elite schools live on endowments and they don't have to pay any taxes on the money. And then they rake in more money with the students attending. Something about real world problems in that little bubble that they live in would definitely change. Something about having a natural predator in a lazy pool of fish make all the fish healthier, right? So making them pay their fair share in taxes, using their own Democrat words against them there. And parents thinking about whether or not sending your kid away to incur this kind of debt, what is it that they're going to do?
Exactly.
One, to pay the debt back, and two, to improve their lives long term. The same amount of time, the same amount of effort being a plumber, an electrician, a carpenter. One of my most favorite husbands is self-taught, as he likes to say. He owns the biggest company of its kind in the Western Hemisphere. Right. And he started it in his mother's garage. He works hard, he reads everything and all of that kind of thing, but he is definitely a self-made man. And he surrounds himself with other people who are self-made. He wants kids to get that. You don't have to have 6 degrees in order to be successful in life. I think that's something, a talk that we need to start having now with kids.
Exactly. I want to combine what both of you said to a degree. I think it's part of it, like you said, Tyrone, and it's not just reevaluating what college is for or what the degree path is, but I also think as families, I think there's a part where maybe parents or elders, we are living vicariously through our young people. Maybe we didn't go to whatever college or choose whatever career path. So now, little Johnny or little Susie, you got to go to college because, you got to carry on a tradition or whatever that may be. Not realizing that maybe little Johnny or Susie, maybe college is not for them, or certainly not maybe that 4-year or Ivy League, whatever it may be. As far as taxes, I think we need to start at the financial aid system. If we got rid of that or grossly overhauled that, then many colleges would suddenly, I bet, become affordable, or they would market to the right people, if you will, that need to, or that would be able to attend and afford whatever that university is. I think it's a combination of those things. And I think, again, back to the first point, as adults, we need to in some ways, or maybe many ways, stop living vicariously that we only have this vision of what our children or relatives should do. But maybe that's not the path that's for them. Let them choose their path. That's what adults are supposed to do. And maybe it may not be something that I may have thought or envisioned, but that's okay. It's your life.
You know, the other thing is that you throw a stone in any direction, you hit a college. There are too many colleges. Okay. This used to be something that had some exclusivity about it. But in the neighborhood I grew up in, there is Community College of Baltimore City. There's Coppin. Okay. You take a bus ride, you go to Morgan. There's Loyola. There are colleges coming out of the woodwork. There are too many.
But you would think having so many of them would drive the cost down. It does not. Collectively, they work on making more money. Let's raise,
because they all get financial aid, and the financial aid pours in.
Yes, but you know, Shelley, I feel convicted. I feel absolutely convicted. And full disclosure, I'm one of those parents. You know, so a little personal thing about me: I lost my husband some years ago, so it's just been me and my daughter for a very long time. And she came to me and said, "You know what, Mom? I don't want an advanced degree. I want to be a flight paramedic." So Mom didn't take that well. It required some soul searching, some praying, you know, a little bit of cussing and fussing and carrying on. But when I started to kind of look at what she wanted to do with her life, not the things that I wanted her to do with her life, because when she was doing what I wanted her to do, she was wickedly unhappy. Now, I was tickled pink. I was loving life. It was a beautiful thing. She was like, "Oh, I hate this. This is horrible. I'm wasting my time." She was sounding like Tyrone. Why do I need to read, you know, Beowulf in Old English in order to do the things I want to do in life? I was like, girl, just be educated. Come on, you can do it. Dig down deep, you know. Oh, no. She came home and she was like, "Look, Mom, we're gonna have to have
a flight paramedic is a pretty good.
It's a great job. Yeah. Make no mistake. But you know, I still see her very much as my little tiny girl, right? And it wasn't until I actually saw her on an EMS call, you know, jump into action, and it was absolutely blown away by who she is as a human being. You know, and I was like, well, look at my girl being all compressing somebody. Look, you better pump that chest. Go ahead, girl. Right. So I felt kind of in love with her strength in being able to come to me and say, this is my life and I want to live it on my own terms, versus, okay, I'm just going to suffer so you can get off my back, you know, once I earn this master's degree. So I felt convicted when you said that. I was like, girl, I've lived that life. I've lived it.
I wasn't trying to convict you.
There's still, I mean, we still have a little ways to go before we, I believe, get into that overall massive college is not needed environment. And I only say that because I think somebody even said in the comments, there is still this, well, two things. One, many places still require a college degree. Now, of course, the trades, or if you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to start your own business and things like that, that's great. But that is not that doesn't fit everybody. And there's still, we still have to get to a place where, you know, these jobs, these careers are not all requiring a college degree. That's one. And then number two, in my opinion, I believe it's particularly these Ivy League schools, you know, even like the private school gambit. Many of these people are doing it for status.
That's right.
You know, it's not even about the child actually getting, you know, a good education, whether it be high school or college, or finding a college that fits your child. It's really about, oh, is this school the prestigious one? Can my, you know, son or daughter get in here? And what's this going to look like? How can I brag about this to people? You know, this is what I find it to be. And it's sad because, like this gentleman, you know, he went to a very good high school. He went to a very good prestigious college. And then they radicalize these kids. This is what they do. They teach them nonsense. And so something needs to be done about this critical race theory, this DEI, this woke education. I mean, it really upsets me. It really upsets me, and something needs to be done about it. I want to acknowledge our super chatters here. All right. Let's see here. We have Chadwick with the $5 super chat. Says, Nicole, the exact same thing was done on the flip side as well. They had a woman assaulting a man, and everyone just looked and laughed. People,
wow, that's horrible.
Yes, it is. Kung Fu CJ with the $5 super chat says he also has a medical condition, and many think that is the motive. Oh, so he's talking about Luigi, the guy. Okay. All right. And guys, we need to get those likes up. So please, if you're watching, I think we have over 200 people watching. Please hit the like button. We don't have as many likes. All right. Steel Toad with the $5 super chat says change can't be made by shooting someone in the back. Totally agree there. Right. Tijuana Border Jumper says, as a pipe fitter, I was making $60 an hour. Wow. Yeah. I personally know that, laying pipe is definitely needed.
Mm-hmm.
No,
it's a trade job. These jobs are needed.
Go ahead, KJ.
This is supposed to be a family show.
I don't know where you got it.
Oh my God. Nicole, I caught myself. I started that. I was going to say, yes, it is.
Teresa Raymondo with the $5 super chat. Thanks for your boldness and bravery, ladies. We need more people who love the USA.
I'm sorry, I'm having a giggling fit.
Tyrone, am I missing something?
Tyrone probably said, I'm always on here when these ladies, I'm the only guy on it all the time.
Tijuana Border Jumper, thank you. Says liked and shared.
Hey, you guys, if you found that just as funny as me and Shelly did, go ahead and hit that like button because I'm over here crying real tears. Real.
You got Steel Toe with the $5 super chat. Says more funding for trade schools, less for the Ivy League. The trades teach you things that no one can take away from you. Absolutely. I totally agree there.
That's right.
All right. So definitely want to bring that breaking news to you all tonight.
I'm sorry. We talk about breaking news. I'm sorry.
What in the world? What did I say? Okay, all right.
Right, I'm back. I'm good. I'm gonna have some green tea.
So let's see here.
All right, will not be getting the Roto-Rooter endorsement.
What?
Kiss that goodbye.
Oh, okay. Oh, I just saw the no. I never heard of that. Okay. All right. I don't know why that would be.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So, gotta get back to it. I want to move on to this Meet the Press interview. All right. So, Meet the Press this week, Sunday, and Trump did a Meet the Press interview with Kristen Welker, and it was really good. It was excellent. Take a look here. This is clip 1 where he talks about when she asked him, will he concede the 2020 election? I can't believe they're still asking this. This clip 1.
Sir, I don't have to tell you this because you've talked about it. It comes at a time when the country is deeply divided. And now you're going to be leading this country for the next 4 years for the sake of the president.
No. I'm not the president. So when you say it's deeply divided, I agree. He went after his political opponent violently because he knew he couldn't beat him. And I think it really was a bad thing. And it really divided our country.
Sir, Democrats have control of the White House now. They didn't in 2020. If they are going around stealing elections, why
when you
didn't
say
they
Democrats have control now?
Of the White House.
Yeah.
So why didn't they steal this election? Since they have more power now.
Because I think it was too big to rig.
So you won't...
Too big to rig.
To the people who say that you're now directing your Justice Department to investigate 2020, and they want to move on.
Very capable. I think Pam is going to be great.
Precious resources.
By the way,
is that what you want them to do?
Just so you know, I have the right to do that, but I'm not interested in that.
Oh, you're not. You're not going to do that.
I'm not interested.
Okay.
I have the absolute right. I'm the chief law enforcement officer. You do know that. I'm the president. But I'm not interested in that. You know what I'm interested in? Drilling and getting prices down and stopping people from pouring into our border that come from prisons and mental institutions.
Yes, he is, man. Trump is back, and I love him. And he ate her up in that interview.
Yes, he did.
Shelley, yeah. Well, I'll start with you, Nicole. What did you think of that exchange? He said too big to red. She didn't even have a response to that.
Well, she wasn't expecting him to say that. You know, she was expecting him to backpedal and, you know, kowtow and all that. She's forgotten who he is. Mm-hmm. You know, he's going to keep it straight, no chaser. It is just who this man is. And no matter how much they try to paint him into this corner with, you know, the previous election and January 6th and retribution, that's what's on your mind, right? That's what Democrats are thinking. They still have not learned a lesson from this election. America has moved forward. Why are you guys still living in the past? There's a whole party that still thinks about the victimhood of slavery and Jim Crow. It's 2024 and your talking point is Jim Crow? That's your talking point? No wonder you got stomped out in that election. No wonder. It's time to move forward. And I love that when she tried to overtalk him, you'll notice that he leaned in, he looked her in the face, put some bass in his voice, and talk to her like a grown-ass man. And we've not seen that in the White House in 4 years. Welcome back, alpha male. Welcome back.
Exactly.
Welcome back, Shelley. Exactly. What did you think of that exchange?
When I saw it, again, I watched the interview and then I watched it again with some interspersing between listening to it without looking at the camera or looking at the screen. But first of all, is Kristen Welker, is she the negotiator for the left? I mean, everything she asked him, it was almost as if she had to shore up whatever his answer was so she can take it back to whomever and say, okay, he said he's not going to do this. He said he's going to do this. I mean, she's running on fear for the left, I guess. I mean, I thought this was ridiculous. All of her, it wasn't a conversation. It was like, I got you. I want to box you in. And he even said that, you know, no, you're not going to put me in this jam, basically, where I'm going to say this and you come back and say, I say just like Joe Biden did. No, you're not going to do that. That's one thing. But what I actually loved, I think even more than his responses, he was cool, calm, and collected. He didn't call her any names, but he did tell her, you know what, you would be so much better or something like that, you know, a little dig. But he was together, he was focused, he was assured and sure of himself, he was confident, and he was bold, and he did not hesitate to demonstrate all of those qualities. I'm the commander-in-chief is what he exuded and what he is about to do. And he wants it and wanted it to be known in that interview.
Yeah.
He made her look panicked. Like she was like, oh my God, are you going to come after us? And the more frantic she got, if you're a student of body language, you'll see his body language change when he talks to her. Like he's talking to her like, I can't believe you're asking me this.
Exactly.
I cannot believe but since you did, here's a little parting shot. Take that back to the hive and share it with the rest of the bees, right? It's a new day. And it's a new day.
It's definitely a new day. I wanted to get these super chats in here, and then I want to get you in on this, Tyrone. All right, we have here, let's see here. Barr says the left is scared of going to jail. Yes, yes, they should go. Kung Fu CJ with the $10 super chat says, hey, I have serviced many of your favorite restaurants in Baltimore. Fire, life, and safety. Oh, awesome. All right, Barr says, hell no, he better not concede 2020. Right. Absolutely. Tyrone, I want to get you on this next clip here. This is Trump really getting Kristen together about the unfair press. Clip 13. I want you guys to take a look.
The press, I can't say treated her unfairly. You know why? Because she's very popular. You would think if the press was unfair, like to me, the press was obviously unfair to me. The press, no president has ever gotten treated by the press like I was. And yet I got more votes than any Republican candidate in history, by far. It's not even close. So you say, what's that all about? The press has to straighten itself out because, honestly, it's lost all credibility. When that can happen, based on the press, I should have gotten no votes, none. And yet I got the highest number ever. And the reason is because I'm able to go on a show, even like yours, even though you're very hostile, I'm able to go on a show like yours. No, you are.
Well, hopefully you thought it was a fair interview. We covered a lot of policy ground.
It's fair only in that you allowed me to say what I say. But, the answers, the questions are, pretty nasty. But look, because I've seen you interview other people like Biden. And
I've never interviewed President Biden.
When I say you, I'm talking metaphorically. I've seen George Stephanopoulos interview Biden, and he's a tough interviewer. It's the softest interview. I've seen CNN interview him. They give these soft, what's your favorite ice cream? It's a whole different deal. I don't understand why. You would think the press would like to see strong borders, great education, a powerful military, so we have a country left, and all these different things. And somehow they don't want to see that.
Yeah. Tyrone, what are your thoughts there?
Hey, look, we got testosterone back in the White House. Poor Joe. He doesn't have any left. You see way Jill Biden, did you see the twinkle in her eye when she looked over at Trump when they were in Paris?
Right.
Thinking about what it would be like to have a real man again. So here we are. We've got a real leader back in the office. And, that's not to indict women because Margaret Thatcher had more testosterone than Joe Biden. So the press, though, they're going to continue to do. In fact, they're probably going to be more virulent than they've ever been, more unfair than they've ever been, because the press right now is shrinking. So all these guys are playing a game of musical chairs. Okay. And a lot of seats are about to be taken away. So they've got to play this game that appeals to their paymasters. And part of that is, the constant persecution of Trump. The people be damned, basically.
And even with all of that weaponization, all of the trials and the press and all of that Trump has had to endure, he is still saying that his presidency will be about bringing the country back together. Take a look at this. This is clip 3.
What do you want to say to Americans who didn't support you in this campaign?
I'm going to treat you every bit as well as I have treated the greatest MAGA supporters. There's never been anything like MAGA in the history of this country. These people are so dedicated to making America great again. It's very simple. And I'm going to treat them just the same as I treat MAGA. We're going to treat everybody good. We want success for our country. We want safety for our country. Our country's under threat, as you know. We have a tremendous threat militarily because of the power of weapons and weaponry. It's a tremendous threat. Nobody talks about it, but it's a tremendous threat. I want to treat everybody the same. I want to treat them well. And at the end of this 4 years, and I have a big head start because I was there for 4 years fairly recently. A lot of bad things were done during the 4 years that I wasn't there, and mostly in what they've done in terms of our reputation overseas. Our reputation is so bad, so shot. I got to bring it back, and I also have to bring back civilization to our country. Our country is a crime pot, and we have to get rid of crime. We have so many things to do. We have to do the prices. We have to do all of that. But we have to get the criminals out of our country. We have to bring down crime. People have to be able to walk across the street and buy a loaf of bread without being shot. And that's going to happen. But what I say to them is, I love you, and we're going to all work together, and we're going to bring it together. And you know what's going to bring it together? Success. I saw that just prior to COVID coming in. I had polls that were the highest anyone. McLaughlin and Fabrizio said George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, if they came back from the dead and they ran as president and vice president, couldn't beat you, sir. We were doing so well. And I was getting along with the left. Let's call it the left. Would be nice. Okay, we're just going to call it. But I was getting along with people that you would consider liberal or progressive, as they like to say, at levels that I never thought was possible. And you know what it was? Success. Success was bringing the country together, and that's what I want to do.
Wow.
Look, he is much more relaxed. Okay. I think all of the crap that he's been through, including the assassination attempts, he is a man that has nothing to lose. Okay. Women want him, men want to be him. You know, he's on top of the world. And I think that this second time around, I actually think them stealing that election actually might have helped America, because it gave him time off. He reflected. He went through a lot of trials and tribulations, and he wrote the book, man, The Art of the Comeback. He wrote the book on that. Here we are.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it. I want to acknowledge our super chatters here. We have some great comments here. All right. So Laura says, thank God Trump is back. Yes, indeed. Amen. All right. Laura also says he handled this interview with class. He certainly did. She also says, I love this part. He handled himself with class. Yes, he did. It was a phenomenal interview. It certainly was. Before I get you ladies on, I want you guys to respond to The View. So they took this the entire opposite. And now, of course, they're fear-mongering, but it actually caused them to go into sort of like they were going after each other on the show. Take a look at this clip 14 of them arguing over whether over Trump's presidency and how to handle it. Wow, they are going crazy. Shelly, what are your thoughts on that exchange? I mean, if you're legal, you probably should panic, no?
Probably, but I have a different take on this, and let me tell you why. I have this, what I call this, well, it's not my theory, but I call it this, the Maslow effect from the Maslow hierarchy. Whoopi and Donald Trump are closer to that self-actualization level where what they're saying is Trump is demonstrating it, cool, calm, and collective. Whoopi is saying things that we've said, no need to freak out about things. Things are going to come. And yes, you can be prepared, but you don't get freaked out about everything that's thrown at you. So I can understand her, Whoopi, and again, how Donald Trump is demonstrating himself. I can understand that they are both in that same era, if you will, that same mindset. So from that perspective, I can agree with Whoopi. What Anna is saying, I also get, you're right, KJ. I want the illegals to be round up, like Trump said, they gotta go. They have to go and send the children with them, the ones who were born here, to keep the family together. So they should be a little concerned. I would urge them, maybe if they, to get busy, start packing, get busy. I would urge them. So in a sense, I do understand what Whoopi is saying in relation to the where she is in life and comparable to Donald Trump in that sense.
Yeah. Nicole, isn't Navarro, isn't she a little nutty? What do you expect when you are living a life of being of illegal what do you call it, status? Your whole life can be, the rug can be pulled out from under you in the twinkle of an eye. Now that we are actually enforcing the laws, of course you're going to be upset, but this is the cost you pay for being here illegal, no?
Yes, but they never thought in a million years that the United States would actually enforce immigration law, because they have not for such a long time. Do you know, it is a hubris is probably the best word I can think about it from her standpoint. Well, if you're illegal and you're here, you should, people are panicking. You should panic. Correct. You should absolutely. If I robbed a bank today with my cell phone on, making a video so we could live stream it to Pop and Politics, I should not be able to come home and curl up in my bed and have a good night's sleep. I ought to feel like the feds are going to kick my door in at any minute, right? They don't have that sense that they've done anything wrong, because for decades, Democrats have told them, oh, no, you're not illegal. People aren't illegal. That's not how this works. You're just undocumented, right? Now that we're back at a place where people are saying we're going to enforce the laws of this nation, and not only the United States, Canada is saying it now, right? So Canada is saying, we got enough folks. Let's just put a hold on all immigration for right now. We're doing too much. Let's just kick back and let the chips fall. There's something going on around the world where all of these governments are saying, enough is enough. We've done enough to help. Let us get our homeland straight first, and then we can come back and reevaluate. But Democrats have these people believing that they've done nothing wrong. You hear them say it on The View all the time. Being illegal doesn't mean that you've committed a crime. By definition, it means you've committed a crime. So you should feel like someone's after you. His name is Tom Homan. Run. Yeah. My best advice, run. Run as fast as you can. Pack your stuff, grab your children, and beat it back to whatever your homeland is, and get first dibs on a nice house and rebuild your homeland, right? Seems so simple. So very simple.
Yeah, Tyrone, I want you mentioned earlier about the exchange between Trump and Joe Biden. The View talked about this on the show today. Take a look, clip 17. Okay, so Tyrone, what's your response to that? They're asking for Joe Biden, and he's asleep in Africa, right?
I was going to say, look, let me just take a page out of Nicole's book. These women all have faces made for radio and voices made for newsprint. If you want to actually, get intelligent commentary, okay, from serious women, okay, who are very nice looking women, all of them, all of the ladies on Pop and Politics, and they rotate because the eye cannot stand so much beauty at once. That's why they have me on here sometimes, balance it out. Go ahead and hit the like button, okay? In terms of these women, man, they're not serious people at all, okay? This is just a little sewing circle that is televised, I mean, look, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Whoopi Goldberg is not even a funny comedian. She bills herself as a comedian. That is the beauty of America. You can be Steve Harvey or you can be Whoopi Goldberg, call yourself a comedian and make millions of dollars and never having said anything funny. Okay, so you've got Anna Navarro, and they're also self-important. Nobody's paying attention to, nobody's coming after you, Anna Navarro. You're the last thing on Trump's mind. All right. And let me say this about immigration. This country does not have an immigration problem. Approximately 1 million people immigrate legally to this country annually. Okay. And if we really care about people, we need to start looking at the brain drain we are causing in other countries. Right? Other countries around the world are spiraling downward because their best and their brightest are coming over here. All right. So there is that also. And like Nicole said, look, man, you got here illegally. Now you have to pay the consequences. I cannot walk into Mexico, Honduras, Venezuela, and just expect to get a whole bunch of benefits. I'm going to wind up in a jail cell for illegally crossing into their border. And then when I'm finished with my sentence, they're going to deport me. Okay. So no, you can't do it. Pack your stuff and start running south.
Run.
And I don't feel any, because they tried to build this whole thing with economic asylum. Where does the person in West Baltimore who can barely pay their rent, where did they go for economic asylum? Where did the people in Appalachia who just had their homes destroyed by Helene, where the hell do they go for economic asylum? Okay. We don't have economic asylum here. We have opportunity here, true. But they were sold a bill of goods, and now it's time to pay the piper.
Wow. Yeah.
Shelley, what were your thoughts there?
Oh, I was going to say, these women on The View, you know what? They want to, I guess, hate Trump just because they hate him for no valid reason at all. He consumes their brains and their mind space. So they don't even know why they hate him. Sarah, look, get off this I don't know, Jill Biden's titty talking about Dr. Biden. What is that? Whatever. I mean, all of a sudden now she's this Dr. Biden. And I say this, she looked confident with Trump because she was like, oh, a real president is here. She knows her husband is not. You know, God bless his soul. I mean, he's not dead yet, but okay, God bless his soul. He's sleepy, he's confused, he's demented. She saw a real president, and he's taking his place as the president of the United States of America. He's not sworn in yet, but guess what? It's not far from the truth because he was the president of the United States of America. So he already knows what to do. And when he walked into that room, Jill Biden, Macron, and all those other dignitaries, they know a real American president when they see one.
And you know, Jill Biden voted for Trump. If she were to be honest, she would admit she voted for Trump. She came in to that voting booth with the reddest of MAGA red, head to toe. Come on. She knows she voted. Joe might have also.
Yeah.
And there's no taking away from this that, you know, Donald Trump is an incredibly charming man. I mean, he is, most people don't realize how tall of a man, how big of a man he is. He's very much a physical presence. He has the personality to kind of sucks all the air out of the room. And then he bowls you over with his wit, his charm. He's very, very funny. So he has all of this going, and he's in a place where he was invited. Let's say that he didn't just show up, you know, to this thing. He was invited by Macron. The handshake between him and Macron, the handshake shown around the world. He shook that man's whole arm. He shook almost his rib cage. He shook that man's hand so hard. But it was a good handshake. This is what we've been missing. This is what's going to make it easier for us to use diplomacy to resolve matters instead of using force to resolve. This is what we mean when we say quiet strength, right? Just his mere presence has brought Zelensky to the table.
That's right.
You know, Zelensky saying, you know, we're going to keep the war going unless we get full NATO, membership. And Trump is going, I don't know if you're ready for NATO. I don't know if you're NATO worthy yet. In fact, let's first get all the people who belong to NATO to pay their 2%. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So that there aren't 3 countries supporting the defense of the entire world. You know, the sheriff is back and the world is going to have to get in line. And
Zelensky is in no position to demand anything. Okay. Yes. If we back out in terms of our dollars, he can keep that war going for like 15 minutes. And he knows that. And you're not getting NATO. You're not getting it. Okay. No. So follow Assad into exile.
Right. And again, and they were on there talking about where's Biden? Biden is sleeping. He was over in Africa, falling asleep. This is clip 18. Take a look here.
Of people, goods, and services, but will also promote shared prosperity and inclusive growth across the region. Internal consultations aiming at aligning this project with national priorities and other bilateral and regional commitments. In closing, allow me to reiterate Tanzania's commitment to regional integration and shared prosperity. We note the progress made on the development of the Lobito Corridor and commend the visionary leadership that has brought this initiative to life. And it is through such partnerships and innovations.
Hooray for the cameraman who stayed on that.
Yes.
And let's call it what it is. It's racist. All right. He didn't fall asleep with the EU. Let's do what they do. Okay. Right. He didn't fall asleep with NATO. He fell asleep in Africa. How racist, though.
Right.
That was about a minute and a half. I mean, I was waiting for the drool to start. I mean, he was, rocking a little bit. I guess I can't fault him. I mean, when nature calls, you just gotta go. I mean, and sleep just, you need sleep, whatever. I mean, it priceless.
And he's an old man. I mean, people have to realize this is a man who spent the better part of 50 years in quote unquote public service. He needs a nap, a blanket, maybe a nice warm beverage. That big fire when him and Trump met, that big crackling fire that was like Southwest hell.
Right.
You know, he's having dreams of somewhere warm, and it's coming, Joe. Just hang on. January 20 is quickly approaching, and you'll be free to roam the world and start big fires anywhere you'd like to do that. I think it is absolutely indicative of what the last 18 months of his presidency has been like.
Yep.
Absolutely indicative. You know, it's ridiculous that people are saying, oh, well, he was, you know, tired. It's an intercontinental trip and all that.
No,
are you serious? They act like he's flying Southwest or Spirit. Give me a break. This man is the lap of luxury. He could have napped the whole time. But I think, again, you know, he's an old man. He's done his time, so to speak. Let Joe have a nap when he needs to have a nap.
You're right. The bedroom on the plane looks better than the bedroom in my house.
Listen, the whole plane is better than my house. Let me tell you.
He's done. He is done. Stick a fork in him, and he's been done for several months.
Yeah.
It's over. Nobody wants to see him on camera. We don't want to hear him talking. We don't even want to see him walking. He is done. He is now. It's just about how much is he going to embarrass us before he leaves office is really what it is. And it was just a news article out today where a poll showing people thought that he's been the worst president, you know, that we've ever seen. You know, people believe he's the worst president. And you have these idiots on The View, you know, cackling about Trump. And let me say this. Alyssa Farr, it would be embarrassing for her to have the MAGA hat grace her head. If you notice, she has changed since the election because she knows she was backing the wrong horse. Yeah. So all before the election, you know, she hated MAGA, she hated Trump, she had gotten onto The View and she was trying to, you know, agree with everything they said. She was the token Republican at the table. Now Trump is won, and so she's trying to switch sides. We don't want you. Stay where you are. No, we don't want to see you in a MAGA hat. You're a disgrace. You're nothing. I would rather see I don't even know, a pig wear it than you. No one, I cannot stand her. I think I despise her more than I despise Sunny Holston.
Everybody hates a traitor. Let's just put that out.
Absolutely.
The thing with this is that she sees the handwriting on the wall, and she's trying to moderate to get to a place where she's hireable by some other show when this one, you know, takes a crap.
That's
Here's
a good
the
point.
problem that she's going to have is that she's milquetoast. She's like tepid water. She is like, you know how when you have an iced coffee and you let the water melt down on it and it's disgusting? That's what she's like. She started out with so much promise, and then The View melted all of her ice, and now she's just a watered down hot mess that you got to throw out. This is where she is. And it's not only going to be her. Now that we have really seen these people for who they are, you know, all of the wolf's clothing has come off of these people. They're all scurrying like a bunch of roaches in a bright light. They're all scurrying. She's doing the Joe Scarborough, the Mika Brzezinski. She's doing the same thing that they're all doing with the backpedaling. The one thing she won't do, though, is backpedal to his face.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
She's
yeah.
not going to do that. Not
Yeah.
gonna do that.
And the crazy thing is, Trump is a great guy. He's a great guy. Let me acknowledge our super chatters here. I know you guys have some great comments on this. Laura says, did you all see Rosie O'Donnell's herpy? I saw it. Oh my gosh. I saw it. Question. I want to get you guys who did see it. Please post in the chat. Do you think it was a herpy, or was it she said it was a heat mark on her? Look, oh my God, it was nasty. Why would she even talk about that? Ugh. Kung Fu CJ, cackling hens, OMG. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. LAPD SWAT with a $5 super chat. How do you see the deportation process going? Do you expect fireworks from uncooperative cities? Well, I do. Actually, Trump talked about this because he talked about whether he would deport dreamers? Would he deport? How would he deport illegals? Take a look. Would he deport just criminal illegals, or is everybody up for grabs? This is clip 5.
You're saying something, sir, that's significant. I just want to make sure I'm clear, which is that you're saying, yes, you're going to focus on the people with criminal histories, but everyone who's here illegally has to go.
I'm saying this. We have to get the criminals out of our country. We have to get people that were taken out of mental institutions and put them back into their mental institution, no matter what country it is. Do you know that Venezuela, their prisons are at the lowest point in terms of emptiness that they've ever been? They're taking their people out of those prisons by the thousands, and they're drunk. And just to get back, because I know exactly what you're getting at. Number one, we're doing criminals, and we're going to do them really rapidly. We're getting the worst gang probably with MS-13, and the Venezuelan gangs are the worst in the world. They're vicious, violent people. And you see what they've done in Colorado and other places. They're taking over, literally taking over apartment complexes and doing it with impunity. They don't care. They couldn't. They just are. They're in the real estate business.
You know, the local police say that is not the case in Colorado.
Oh, it's totally the case. I mean, I have it
you
on
don't
tape.
believe the local police.
I play it. I used to play it at my rallies every single night. No, they're breaking into doors. They're taking over the building.
But sir, you
and by the way,
the point,
the police are afraid to do anything.
You raised the point that the logistics are complicated. You said
Sure
it yourself.
they are,
You would
but everything's complicated.
Yeah, you mean you need 24 times more ICE detention capacity just to deport 1 million people per year, not to mention more agents, more judges, more planes. Is it realistic to deport everyone who's here illegally? You have no choice.
First of all, they're costing us a fortune. But we're starting with the criminals, and we got to do it. And then we're starting with others, and we're going to see how it goes.
Who are the others?
Others are other people outside of criminals. We have convicted murders. We don't mean people that are even on trial. We have people that have murdered numerous people are on our streets and in our farms.
Yeah. Shelley. He's getting rid of he said he's going to target the criminals first and then move on to the rest. Do you think that's
round them up and get them out? That's what they need to do. I don't understand. Well, I do. These people on the left, the Kristen Welkers, however you pronounce her name, they don't want America to be America. They want these people here. We can, number one, they're here illegally, but we cannot afford them. We cannot, they overrun and overcost our healthcare systems, our education systems, our criminal justice systems, the prisons, all of the local and state resources. They suck us dry, and they have the nerve to be here illegally. And they're basically saying this to us because they keep coming over our borders. Only now, since Trump has been reelected, are the countries in South America, they're starting to temper, if you will, the caravans that have been coming. You know, all of a sudden now they can put some stoppage to these people coming over to some degree or another. Well, guess what? More of that is going to happen, and you're going to get back your criminals, your rapists, your gangbangers, your drug dealers. You're going to get them back. Let them go. They will go. All of these people on the left, tough luck. Deal with it.
Well, let me ask Nicole this, and this is what LAPD SWAT is referring to. Do you expect fireworks in these uncooperative cities? Do you think it's going to be chaos?
No, I think it'll be one, probably the guy from Chicago. You know, there'll be one person who pops off to see what the response is going to be.
Brandon Scott, the bitch called Brandon Scott.
What's going to end Brandon Johnson. What's going to end up happening is the response is going to be swift and immediate, and the federal government has the absolute right to withhold funding if it needs to. Mm-hmm. Tom Homan and Homeland has the absolute right to arrest you for impeding a federal officer. And he's already said what it's going to be. And he does not have a jokey face. This is just not who he is. He means it, and he should. This is the right thing to do. And communities who decided that they're going to double down on dumb are going to have to pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Tyrone, the hardest line that Trump took in this interview was on the J6 committee members. This is clip 11. Take a look at this.
some of this new reporting. NBC News is reporting that President Biden is considering giving preemptive pardons to the likes of Liz Cheney, Adam Schiff, and Anthony Fauci. If President Biden doesn't issue those pardons, do you think they are going to wish that he had? Are they going to be pursued?
I can tell you this about Cheney, and she's a so-called Republican. I think she hurt the Democrats terribly. When I saw that Kamala put Cheney out on the campaign trail, I said, that's the end of Kamala. I really did. I thought it was a terrible move, especially if you're a Democrat. But Cheney did something that's inexcusable, along with Thompson and the people on the Unselect Committee of political thugs and, creeps. So the Unselect Committee went through a year and a half of testimony. Wait. They deleted and destroyed all evidence of that they found. You know why? Because Nancy Pelosi was guilty. Nancy Pelosi turned down 10,000 troops. You wouldn't have had a J6 because other people were guilty. The people that said that I attacked 2 Secret Service agents in a car. I grabbed one around the neck. I was then rebuffed, and I grabbed the other one. These are 2 of the toughest men anywhere on the planet. They happen to be slightly younger than me, maybe, just a little bit. Let me just tell you. They testified. They said it was total. And all of this stuff came out. People lied so badly. Now, listen, this was a committee, a big deal. They lied. And what did they do? They deleted and destroyed a whole year and a half worth of testimony. Do you know that?
So you think Liz Cheney should go to jail?
For what they did.
Everyone on the committee, you think
I think everybody anybody that voted in favor.
Are you going to direct your FBI director and your attorney general to send them to jail?
No, not at all. I think that they'll have to look at that, but I'm going to focus on drill, baby, drill.
When you say that, it carries weight, though. You've tapped these people to lead the Justice Department and FBI.
They can do whatever they want.
Okay.
Biden can give him a pardon if he wants to.
So Tyrone, should they go to jail?
I think that there's enough there to at least put them to charge them. Absolutely. These people weaponized the government to go after Donald Trump and a lot of his supporters. Okay, it was open season on us. So turnabout is fair play, and there needs to be a message sent that this will not be tolerated. So if you want to get into this type of back and forth, fine, we can do it. But some examples definitely need to be made. I don't know if it'll ever result in anybody going to jail. Who knows, right? But I'll tell you what it will result in. It will result in millions of dollars of legal fees, okay, for people to have to defend themselves in these protracted investigations up against the federal government. So fine, I'm fine with that. And real quick, on the issue of whether or not this thing will get hot with these mayors and governors. Listen, aiding and abetting illegal immigrants is a federal crime. So you take Brandon Johnson in Chicago, the guy out in Denver, and Brandon Scott here in Baltimore, and you put them in a federal lockup for about a week, and I promise you, they will change their tunes. Make some examples out of people. They're committing crimes. And they're doing so at the expense of tax-paying citizens of this country. So yeah, put them in an orange jumpsuit, maybe in a cell next to Diddy, all right, for a week or so. And you're committing a crime.
Yeah. Put them in a broom closet like they did some of the J6ers. I want to acknowledge some of our super chatters here, folks. Thank you so much. We certainly appreciate you. Laura says, yes, Jill was all in. She wanted to sit a little closer. She certainly did. Almost on Trump's lap. Kung Fu CJ says, YouTube has struck again. Yeah, I think we have some technical difficulties, guys, for a minute here. Laura with the $5 super chat says, Trump has swagger and the ladies and the men are in love.
Absolutely.
Tyrone, are you in love?
I wouldn't characterize it as in love. I deeply admire Donald Trump.
Bar with the $5 super chat says, whoopster, the Donald has been the president since 2016. 3 terms, baby. Okay. He says, Mr. President said, extend the love. We're better. Thank you, Bar. Thank you for the $2 super chat. I want to get this one last clip in for you guys. I thought this was the best clip of the night. When Trump talked, when she asked him, will he pardon himself? Clip 9. Take a look at what he said. Burn. Oh,
we sat down for an interview if you were going to pardon yourself. You said no. But now that President Biden has pardoned his son, Hunter, are you reconsidering? Might you pardon yourself?
I didn't do anything wrong. I was given the option. And the lawyers told me, a very specific lawyer, I don't have to go into who, but very high up in the administration said, sir, if you pardon yourself, you're going to look guilty. And you did nothing wrong. Oh, I had that option. I could have saved myself a lot of legal fees, but it turned out that I was right. Look at what's gone on. Everything's being dropped. I still have a Fani Willis, a total hoax. That's a total hoax. It's all being dropped.
All right. Nicole, what do you think of that exchange?
Listen, again, alpha male energy. This is the thing. I think the whole interview was leading up to that point. If she could have gotten him to say, yes, I'm going to pardon myself and I'm going to pardon all of my friends, Steve Bannon and all of these guys, it would have given them some level of comfort about what Joe Biden is intending to do, what his staffers are intending to do. I love his answers in that I'm not directing anybody to do anything. Pam Bondi is a pit bull chasing a greasy pork chop every day of the week. And Tyrone, she does it while she looks good. She is well-dressed, well-spoken, well-put together woman, but you're not going to slide by her. There's none of that. Is she going to come after a few people? Probably. Maybe Liz Cheney, you never know. Anthony Fauci, I think maybe 90% of this country is after that man. At some point, there has to be a reckoning for what they have done.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't have to come from him. Mm-hmm. It can come from a legitimate Department of Justice. Yeah. Absolutely. And I don't think any of this is him trying to get retribution. This is not him trying to get his lick back. None of that. As he said before, his success, much sweeter than any retribution he could ever bring. He won this election in such a way that left them breathless. They're still scrambling, trying to figure out top from bottom.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They are. Yeah.
This
is a classic case of confusing the enemy. Mm-hmm. They don't know what to do, say, what to think, because unlike his first term, he pretty much gave everything back to them, right? All of the jabs, the name calling, whatever. So they could kind of predict. Now with this Trump, again, he's older, he's wiser, he has zero to lose, nothing to fear. Mm-hmm. He knows their tactics. Remember, the right knows the left better than the reverse. So they are confused. They don't know which way is up. And come January 20th, noon, 12:30 p.m., they are going to be doing even more flips.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I do want to acknowledge our super chatter. So Tijuana Border Jumper says, let's see here, Nicole Bennett for president. Yes, indeed. Barr says those mayors and governors are full of hot air. I agree.
Especially ours, Brandon Scott.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, we've had our fill. We certainly have. Folks, I want to end on this clip of the part of the interview where I think I just don't understand. I mean, I can see people who don't agree with Trump's politics. I can even kind of understand, some women who clutch their pearls at some of the things he said early on in the candidacy back when he first ran in 2016. But he's really a nice guy. I mean, he's such a likable guy. And this is prime example of that. Take a look here where Kristen, they're talking about the presidents that have taken salary. This is clip 10.
Planning to accept a salary as president?
I'm not going to accept a salary, no. and I'm giving up a lot of money. Do you know it amazed me that, and maybe this isn't right, but other than George Washington, and they're not sure about that, every president has accepted their salary except me.
And you did accept the pension, correct?
I don't think so.
You didn't accept your pension?
I don't think I accepted anything. I didn't. I get a salary. The president gets about $450,000 a year, and I didn't take it.
I want to ask you again about...
But by the way, I got no credit for that. That's okay.
Well, I am asking you about it for that reason.
Yeah.
And I think it's notable you're not going to accept a salary.
Yeah, I don't accept. I'm not. Yeah. I didn't, and I'm not going to. And I don't believe I got any credit for that. But I just feel it's, for me, it's a nice thing to do. I think this, and I was surprised. Not one president has done that. I would have assumed Roosevelt would have not accepted salary, or Kennedy. Kennedy family is rich. I would have assumed that some of them. I'm the only president that.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's the kind of guy that you like. He's just a very likable guy. He seems genuine. He's the type will say it to you whether he thinks you're gonna like it or not. He's gonna give it to you straight. I don't know what else more to say about it.
Don't forget, this guy had the #1 television show for close to a decade.
Right.
Okay, and he'd been a public figure that was beloved for a long time until the Democrat media machine went to work to vilify him. Right. But his entire history is one of people admiring him and having a lot of good stories to tell about interacting with him.
I mean, right. Look at it. This man has walked through the fires of hell and back. $500 million with a B dollars worth of legal fees. And he's not going to take the $400,000 salary for being president of the United States. You would think he would say, okay, I'm going to take this money and invest it and try to get some of my money back, that kind of thing. He has no interest in doing that. When we talk about someone who has, you want to look at the progression of a man who came in the very beginning, so braggadocious and so full of vim and vigor, going through all of the things that he's gone through, much like our country has gone through so many things, we find ourselves at a place where America remembers who he is now, right? And the reasons why we needed him. And he's much calmer. I guess that comes with age, right? It comes with wisdom.
Or having been shot at.
Right. Shot at, assassinations on your life, your family attacked, the FBI, the guy that you hired to run the FBI, sending his minions to rifle through your wife's underwear drawer looking for documents. I mean, this man has lived through so much to want to still serve his country for free. Lets us know where his heart's at. It really does let us know where
it comes from. Somebody who's working in government who actually doesn't need them. He knows they need him.
Exactly.
It's someone who doesn't want anything. Mm-hmm. He doesn't need the money. He doesn't need the fame. He doesn't need the power. He doesn't need it. He's actually here because he believes he's the best man for the job at bringing this ship around. And getting our country back on track.
Absolutely. Let me say, now, I would not be one bit upset or perturbed if he did accept the salary. I mean, it comes with. I don't think anybody would, or certainly they shouldn't be if he does accept the salary. But Trump, like Tyrone said, he's been loved for decades by Americans, right? Americans. He hasn't changed in a sense of who he is. Mm-hmm. He's changed some positions. He rethought some things, whatever. To me, he certainly has grown, just as a man, as a president, as an American, as a father, whatever. But he hasn't changed. The people who spew the vicious, vile rhetoric towards him, certainly the ones who tried to assassinate him, they changed, and they could not understand why people loved him only because he signed up to run for office. He has not changed. If anything, he has certainly grown. If you want to use the word evolve, fine. He certainly has done so. He has what's the old phrase? He has come into his own. And damn it, he is owning it. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I agree. He's like a fine wine. He's just getting better and better. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if you see, he's one that is about really playing chess. He's the type of man who sees actions as vessels for meaning, where the gesture itself may be small, but the message it carries speaks volumes. And for him, it's not about the act alone, but the deeper intention. That's what he's about. Exactly. And I love it. Art of the deal, right? Art of the deal. There it is. All right, folks, we are at the end of our time tonight. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your super chats. Thank you so much for your donations. You can still give donations through our Cash App after we're gone. If you have it in your heart to do, if you enjoy conservative content, and we certainly appreciate the support. Thank you so much for that. All right, we will be back on Wednesday night live in the studio. We'll be back at 8 p.m. right here. If you haven't done so already, hit the notification bell and subscribe. That way you know each time we go live. All right, we have merch too, guys. If you haven't checked out our merch store, certainly check it out. You go to our website, www.popandpoliticslive.com. and hit shop. We have shirts, we have sweatshirts, hoodies, mugs, all of it right there for you to enjoy. And again, that's a great way to support us. All right. We will see you on Wednesday. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.
Good night.